Figures Wireless for all your communication needs. Pair the F3 phone with the earbuds and translate any language in the world. This is next level communication. www.figures.com. Yes, that's F as in Freddie, IGGERS.com. And at checkout, use my code credit score. That's one word for 25% off. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And once again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly, truly appreciate it. Hey, so we are lucky to even be here right now. So I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, why we are late getting on the air. We're late getting on the air because in the middle of doing some pre-recording, the computer crashed. The whole thing just crashed. Fortunately, I got a backup. Fortunately, I have a backup computer. Now, it's not working the best either. Like, I can't hear myself right now. So hopefully you can hear me out there listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. So thanks again, for real, for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I hope all of you guys are staying safe out there. You're covering your mouth. You're getting checked if you got symptoms, all those kinds of things. And I want to say for the people that are, still suffering and going through this and may have coronavirus, I hope you all recover 100% and that it happens sooner rather than later. So once again, thank you guys for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I want you to do something for me. I want you to make sure that you share the show. Share the show with all of your friends and family. You guys might be stuck at home. You need something else to do. You need a new skill to learn. You need to work on your credit, whatever it is. If you're at home and you have time, because I know some of us don't have any more time. We might rather be working because home is chaos, especially if you got additional people in your house, little people. You got kids in your house. Now you got to teach them how their ABCs and how to add and write and read and write and all of those things. So if you've got time, check out the 800 Credit Score Man Show on podcast and share it. Share it with all of your friends and your family. All right, make sure you do that. They won't be offended if you send them a show about credit. They won't think, man, he or she thinks that I don't have good credit and I need help in this area. Okay, let me step back. Maybe they will think that, but send it to them anyway. Let them know it's something that you've heard. You've been doing some other podcasts listening, and you found this one and you like it, so you're sending it to them. So make sure you do that for your friends and family. If we grow and you guys grow, everybody gets it in together. So again, thank you guys for coming in and listening to the show. And we've got an old friend that's back. Yes, we've got an old friend that's back. That's cute as a cupcake, where the cupcakes are more than just cute. They're delicious. So go to www.cuteasacupcake3.com. Now, what's going to happen when you go there? All of you people that listen to me from east to west, from north to south, that said, man, I wish I could get to Maryville, Indiana, and get me some Cute as a Cupcake. Well, they can ship to you now. So go again to www.cuteasacupcake3, that's the number 3.com, and you can get cupcakes delivered right to your doorstep. Again, www.cuteasacupcake3.com, and you can get those delicious cupcakes delivered right to your doorstep. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about credit card utilization. We're going to talk about how important it is and all of those things. So I know you've probably heard about it before, of course, especially if you listen to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. But it's the second highest or the second most important pillar when it comes to calculating your credit scores. Now, that's your credit utilization. Credit utilization is defined as a percentage comparing your balances and your credit limits. So this only deals with your revolving credit. Only dealing with your revolving credit when it comes to credit utilization. Now, although I will have to say recently, I've seen some denial letters refer to how much you owe on your student loans or your mortgage or even your car, that you owe too much on them at some particular point in time. However, This really only deals with, as far as TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, and FICO and Vantage Score are all concerned. It's only dealing with your revolving credit, and that's your credit card. So hopefully that isn't something that's coming in the future for us, because it would be a disadvantage and unfair to try to take what our utilization is on a mortgage and use that against us or for us when it comes to calculating your score. I think that would be unfair to do. So hopefully they won't be moving in that direction. But I have seen that on some denial letters. And a denial letter, I'm sure if you don't know, is when you apply for credit. They say no, and then they send you the letter saying, here are the 10 reasons we denied you credit. You had a low credit score, your credit utilization is out of whack, you've missed the payment here, there, whatever. All of those things come on your denial letter. And if you get those letters, don't be dismayed about all those things that they list. It just seems like it's CYA. You know what that is? Covering your ass. They put a bunch of things in there so you can't dispute all of those things and say, hey, give me credit anyway. I should get credit for this, that, or the other. So don't be dismayed by that. If you get a denial letter, take advantage of what you can do in that denial letter, and that means you can get a free credit report. So if somebody used TransUnion and they denied you using that TransUnion, you can get a free copy of your credit report just because you got denied. So take advantage of that if you can. So today I'm going to explain how to calculate your own utilization. You can cheat, if you will, if you want to call it cheating. You can have somebody else do it for you. So if you go to any of those places like Credit Sesame, Credit Karma, any of those kinds of places, they tell you what your credit card utilization is. But it's important for you to know how to calculate it yourself, and maybe even check them. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe that calculation is wrong. So I'm going to show you how to calculate your own utilization today. Why it's important. So we'll talk about why that utilization is important, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to lower your utilization. The lower your utilization, the better it is for you. So we're going to deal with all of those things today. So let's jump into this. So credit utilization is 30% of your credit score. It's 30%. So some say that credit cards are the devil. Now, I'd rather think of them as a necessary evil. And in all actuality, it's not the credit card. It's you. Yes, it is you if you misuse them. If you misuse them, like anything else that was meant for good, it could turn out to be bad. Or anything that is meant to be used in moderation, if you abuse it, it can turn into a problem. So if you're addicted to using your credit cards, and some people say that they absolutely are, please address that first. I cannot tell you what to do about that. If you're addicted to using those cards, I don't know what you should do about that addiction, but maybe you need to look into it. Make a pact with yourself that you're not going to use a credit card. Maybe you start short term. I'm not going to use a credit card today. I'm not going to use a credit card this week. I'm not going to use a credit card this weekend. Maybe you start that way to help you wean yourself off of using those credit cards all of the time. Now, you could go old school. You definitely could go old school. You could stick that credit card in a block of ice somewhere, and trust me, by the time you chip through that block of ice to get to that credit card, whatever you wanted it for, it just doesn't seem worth it, and you're not going to use the credit card. So you go about handling that addiction first, and then we'll see where you go from there. So it's let's talk about that a little bit. So just make sure that that's what goes on when it comes to your credit card and your credit utilization. So why is it important? Let's tackle this first. Why is it important? They're important because, like I said, they're 30% of your credit score. Only second to paying on time when it comes in terms of waiting in your calculation for your credit score. Only second to paying on time, which is the most important, which is 35% of your credit score. So what happens then if you don't have any credit cards at all? What happens? Then what you're doing is you're missing out on 30% of how high your credit score could be if you don't have any credit cards at all. So if you don't have any cards and you have, say, a 659 credit score, for example, and you're wondering why it's not moving, it's the lack of this particular pillar. you don't have a credit card, again, 30% of what your credit score is. If you have a higher credit score, say you're at 700, 720, and in that time while you worked on your credit, you've paid down your utilization, maybe you got rid of some of those cards and whatnot, and your score is not moving, it's because of this particular pillar. If you don't have a credit card, so we're going to talk about all of that too a little bit later in the show. So the credit cards do not have to be major credit cards. So when you think of credit cards, maybe you think of Visa, MasterCard, Discover, Amex, things of that nature. They do not necessarily have to be major credit cards. As far as the score is concerned, a revolving account is a revolving account. And that's what a credit card is. It's a revolving account. So yes, Target matters. Walmart matters. JCPenney matters. Ashley Stewart matters. Best Buy matters. So you can get a card from any of those places as well, and that'll help you with your credit utilization as well as your credit score. So not so long ago, if you had a bad score, you couldn't get a credit card, no matter what it was or who it was with. No matter if it was with Target or JCPenney's or, a MasterCard, you couldn't get a credit card if you had a really bad credit score. Nowadays, almost anyone can obtain a secured card. And a secured card, you put up the money up front. So when you do that, that money, whatever amount you put up, that becomes your limit. So you put up $200, then that's your limit. You get a $200 limit, you get to use that, and you make monthly payments on it, right? So that's what you do when it comes to that. It's just like a regular credit card, and I'm putting up air quotes really. It's like a regular credit card where you go ahead and you use it anytime you want to use it, and you make monthly payments on it. But again, your limit is how much ever money you put up in the beginning. Unlike a regular credit card where they just give you a credit limit, and then you spend what you spend, and then you pay it back. So that's the difference between the two. And almost, again, like I said, almost anybody can get a secured card at this particular juncture. Of course, you've got to have some things. So you've got to have a bank account. So if you're unbanked, you most likely will not be approved for a secured credit card because they're going to want access to your bank, if you will. Sometimes you have to have automatic deduction for whatever your payment's going to be and whatnot. But then other times you don't have to do that. You can send your payment in, but they like to see that you actually have a bank account. That's like maybe one of the only things that they require is for you to have a bank account. So make sure you get one of those if you're going to apply, or you have one if you're going to apply for a secured card. So again, it does not matter when it comes to calculating your score. Doesn't matter to TransUnion or Equifax or Experian if it's a secured card or not. So it is extremely important. And although they should not be used as an emergency, here's another reason that cards are important. Although they should not be used for an emergency fund or to replace your emergency fund that we've talked about the last couple of weeks, they can certainly come in real handy in a pinch. So an unexpected car repair, a tree falls in your yard, washer and dryer go out. If you don't have cash on hand or an emergency fund for that, a credit card can be very helpful when it comes to those things. Even if you just use it for that. Even if you just use your card for those kinds of emergencies that might come up. Some people just use their credit cards for when they're going on vacation. If they're going to rent a car, they're going to use the credit card because there's some benefits in there. There's some benefits to that in there. When it comes to maybe somebody gets your card number or whatever while you're out of the country visiting or you're in another state visiting, and then you'll be able to dispute those charges a little bit easier with a credit card and get that, or not have to pay that money up front as comparison to if it was you were using your debit card. You spent that money's gone. Somebody gets your card number, that money is gone. Yes, if you can prove that it's a fraud, the bank will give you your money back. But what's the process for that? How long does that take to happen? If you're using a credit card, you're not out that particular money. So that's one of the good benefits of having a credit card as well. I think nowadays, I'm pretty sure nowadays you can rent a car now if you've got a debit card and a particular amount that's on it. But before, you couldn't even rent a car without a credit card. So it does have its benefits for sure. So, like I said, it's a necessary evil, if anything.